Bored ka rin ba at naisipan mo manood ng horror story sa kalagitnaan ng November? Katulad ba kita? Sabihin mo sa akin. So ayun, nagising ako kaninang 2. Tapos naramdaman ko lumalakas yung ulan. Tapos sabi ko, ba't ko ba kinakaso sa sarili ko? Pero okay na yun. So, ayun, manood tayo ngayon ng mga horror story kasi gusto nating matakot. Pero dahil may mga matatakutin, tayo manunood ng anime story na nakakatakot. Dahil yun ang aking paborito at hindi mo yun paborito. Paborito ko yun, okay? Manood ng nakakatakot na movie pag nagising ka ng madaling araw. So, mga nag-go sa'yo, manood ka na ng horror story, takutin mo yung sarili mo. Tapos kumain ka ng masarap na Milo at ng masarap na pancit canton na may init. So ngayon, tayo manunood ng mahiwagang paborito kong anime story. Kung hindi ka pa nakakanood dito, manood ka na. Ano ng kalokohan? I-screen record ko para makita nyo ang aking pinapanood. Omegle pa more.
It happened to me a couple years ago. It happened on a Saturday night. I was typing out a school report for my English class and was pretty worn out from the tedious amount of thinking that transpired throughout the paper. I decided to take a break and procrastinate a little bit, maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos. I needed to take
Sabi ko sa
some
inyo
stress off
dapat
my
lalo kayo nanonood ng YouTube video pagkadaling araw. Kung gusto nyo
This gave
matakot.
me the idea to visit a chat room called omegle.
Omegle!
It's a chat room where you can literally video chat with random strangers online through your computer webcam. Needless to say, Omegle definitely helped with my social skills growing up as a child, so I was always active on it. I remember this one particular night. I was having trouble meeting new people. This left me a little frustrated to say the least, but that's the kind of thing to expect when you're on these kind of chat sites.
Omegle pa kasi.
That's when I stumbled upon this one guy. He looked to be around the same age group as myself and seemed like a pretty harmless individual. I decided to say hi. He didn't say anything back, he just typed the word hi in the chat box. I found it kind of weird that he would go through the effort of typing out hi as opposed to just saying hi verbally. He then waved at me and began typing something else. He introduced himself in the chat box saying, "My name is Daniel, what's your name?" I verbally said, "My name is James, how are you?" He then stares at the camera and doesn't say a word to me, completely dismissing the fact that I just asked him a question. At this point, I was convinced this had to be some sort of pre-recorded video and that someone was just trolling me. That's when he began typing in the chat box again saying, "I'm deaf, please type in the chat box unless you know sign language." I honestly felt stupid and immediately typed, "No worries, my name is James," and gave a quick thumbs up as an act of kind gesture. He immediately typed back saying, "Nice to meet you, James," and gave me a thumbs up as well. He then typed something else that left me
Ako talaga si Daniel, may
He
lamig.
said, "I will use my whiteboard to chat with you going forward because my hands will be occupied." I was confused by what he meant by that, so I typed, "What do you mean by your hands being occupied?" He then starts writing on a whiteboard and raises it up on the screen, which read, "Want to play a game?" I typed, "Sure, what game you want to play?" What he did next is something I will never forget to this day. He held a revolver up with one hand and the whiteboard up with the other hand, saying, "Let's play Russian roulette." I was honestly quite creeped out by this guy and was contemplating on clicking the stop option to skip this weirdo. That's when he wrote another message on the whiteboard
Stop mo na!
saying, "1 of 6. I was confused by what 1 of 6 meant. He then took the revolver, slipped one bullet inside the cylinder, and began spinning it with his other hand. I now knew what he meant by 1 of 6. It seemed like the guy was about to demonstrate an act of Russian roulette with one bullet in the cylinder of 6. He then puts the revolver against his head. I began typing, "What are you doing? Please stop this." The guy then smiles disturbingly on the camera and pulls the trigger. Nothing happened. He starts laughing hysterically like a psycho. I was honestly disturbed, but also skeptical that the gun was real, so I typed, "Is that even real?" He then points the revolver at the wall and begins to repeatedly press the trigger until the shot was fired. I was completely blown away by what I was seeing and typed, "Dude, you could have died!" That's when the guy raised the whiteboard to the screen again, showing the message, 5 of 6. I frantically started typing, "Don't do it," repeatedly in the chat box, desperately trying to get his attention. He then began loading the revolver with 5 bullets while I gestured no by waving my hands back and forth like a lunatic. I knew the odds of him surviving this time were slim to none. He then raises the revolver against his head once again and begins to disturbingly smile, with tears running down his face. He began mumbling the words, "It was nice meeting you, James." I immediately slammed my laptop shut as I hear a gunshot a split second before the laptop was fully closed. I was left baffled on my computer desk. I hadn't a clue what to do. I stupidly opened my laptop up with my eyes closed. I pressed my hand against the screen where the video chat was located. I opened my eyes, and through the cracks of my fingers, I can see blood displayed everywhere on his screen. I immediately click the exit button on the Google Chrome tab and call it a night. To this day, I'm still skeptical about what I saw that
may
night.
nasakyan kang namatay,
I haven't
tapos
reported anything to the police, nor have I reported anything to omegle.
matutulog ka, kaya mo
I'm
yun.
not sure if that was the wisest decision,
Kaya
but
ko pa
I hope I
multuhan,
never
pero yung
encounter
patay
anyone like that
sa
again.
harapan mo mismo. Parang, di ba nakakatakot? Tapos, di ka pa magsasabi sa mga police, parang, what the heck?
This happened to me on a trip to Lyon, France. I was travelling solo from the States and had booked a stay with this old couple in their house. I say old, they must have been in their mid-60s. It was a new listing and only had a couple of reviews, but they were both really positive. From the photos, I could tell that this place wasn't exactly a 5-star joint. But for the price, it was a steal, and in a great location to boot.
Yan, mahilig kasi tayo sa mura.
Arrived, the older couple actually made dinner for me. It was a nice touch, and who was I to refuse? Their English was decent, so we chatted and shared a few stories, and afterwards I went to explore the city and get a few drinks. I must have returned around 10 p.m, and my hosts were nowhere to be seen. In bed asleep, I figured. The pair had told me at dinner to help myself to a little wine, which is precisely what I did when I got in. Nice folks. Afterwards, I went up to my bedroom to settle down myself. Now, I usually have trouble sleeping, but that night I fell asleep with surprising ease. All the travelling that day had worn me out, and that little bit of wine probably helped too, I guess. I'm not sure what time it was, but I awoke in the night to a flash of lightning. You know when you still tell there was a flash of bright light? Well, it was just like that. I remained curled up in bed with my eyes still shut, waiting for the crash of thunder
Tinuro
to
din
come
sa
on.
kanya ng science namin.
I
Yung,
counted the passing
ganun.
seconds in my head.
Basta tinuro din sa
My mom
amin
used
yun.
to tell me that however many seconds there were between the lightning and thunder, that was how many miles away it had struck. So I'm there, counting away in my head. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20, 30. That's odd, I thought. No thunder. It was then, through closed eyelids, that I sensed another lightning flash. Again, I waited for the thunder, but it... Inside my bedroom were my 2 hosts. Initially, I didn't realize just how bizarre this situation was. I was still in that confused, just out of sleep state. Even still, I knew there was something off about their expressions. As my eyes adjusted, I could tell what was wrong. They were both wearing masks. Latex masks of old human faces, with exaggerated features. The flashes had been from the camera the woman was holding. They had been taking pictures of me whilst I slept. You're dreaming, said the male, his voice muffled behind the latex mask. Then, backing up to
Lubat na ako, uy.
Oras na, mag-4 na. And 4 na, actually. So, medyo okay nang panonood natin. At look, yung buhok ko, diba, gulo-gulo na siya. Kailangan na natin matulog. Yun. Keep safe, guys. Lagi, lalo na sa bagyong Ronnie. And yung mga salanta dyan. Yun, sana okay lang kayong lahat. And sana may okay talaga to lahat. November 1, malapit na mag-Christmas. Sana hindi naman bumagyo ng tono. Ano na nakikakit, guys. Love you.